There it is.
Hello and welcome to another Woodshop podcast with Mike Coffey of Coffey Custom Builds, Daniel Dunlap of Daniel Dunlap Woodworks, and Peter Kapar of Petrie's Workshop. You can find us all as well as the podcast on Instagram and YouTube.
Welcome to episode 139 of another Woodshop podcast, the first episode of 2023, where despite it being a new year, we continue to have the same resolution, 1920 by 1080. What's going on, boys?
Boo!
No.
Despite those horrible jokes, we still have patrons, and we also have VIP patrons. And in fact, we have a new VIP patron.
Yeah, we do.
Big thanks to Malcolm at Bossa Nova Woodworks for joining the Meh Army. He's actually, when you're a VIP patron, you're actually a 4-star general in the Meh Army.
You are, yeah.
It's a fact. You get, I don't know, something, a pension. But also, big thanks to a pin. Big thanks to a watch after 25 years. Big thanks to Alexander Kopajans, Jake Miller, Jake Conine, Justin from Calvary Customs, Christian Tong, Michael Flickinger, Square Splinter, and Tim from Lock City Woodworks. You guys are all 4-star generals in our hearts. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your service.
So much. Pete,
I can't believe, hold on. I can't believe I didn't catch this before.
Dan can't believe things.
If you would have mentioned Malcolm's name somewhere in the midsection there, we could have called him Malcolm in the Middle.
You know what? And this is why you guys keep coming back year after year for this fire content.
You're welcome.
Dan, I appreciate that. Thank you. All right. Well, with that, I approached the guys this week with a crazy idea. I said, let's do a goals for 2023. And I didn't tell them about this part, but I actually listened back to last year's end of the year episode, beginning of the year episode.
Why do you hate yourself?
It was really terrible. I listened at 1.5 times speed because I just needed to get through it. And I just want you to know, guys, like 2021 was rough. We went into 2022 with really high hopes. Like here's a little flashback.
Please.
Betty White just passed away. We made the whoa, White Betty joke. Yeah, she had just passed.
Why are you breaking my heart like this, man?
We were about to head to Mike's for the semi-exact tour that never happened. And
right.
Guys, wait, it gets darker. It gets worse. Dan tried to grow a mustache. It's the Dirty Sanchez episode. Yeah. Also, it was
Dirty
the first
Danchez.
time. Dirty Danchez. Also, it was the first time Dan. Yeah, so bad. Kayla was so mad.
Oh, she was not happy about the Dirty Danchez.
And Dan, that was also when you had just flattened a door and it cupped a year ago.
Yeah, I'm gonna go tomorrow. I'm heading over to that house to rat out the hinge mortises on the door jamb.
Oh my God, still more work with that door. It's been literally a saga. But what I really want to talk about is, we're going to be talking about our goals for this year. And I reached out to some of our regulars that used to call in all the time. And I was like, hey, no pressure. Would love to hear about your goals or like whatever. And I want you to call in if you have something to add for this year. But I wanted to talk about the goals that we set last year. And I'm kind of proud of ourselves. So Dan, I'm going to start with you because your words were literally, you just want to grow and not go backwards. You don't like to set goals. That's literally all you said. But look at you. You've grown your business. You've taken on
hey, look at that. I made it.
An unpaid assistant of their free will.
Yeah, I don't pay
in the shop. Yeah. But like you were looking to grow, and over the next couple of months, you absolutely blew up your Etsy shop. You've been growing like crazy. You passed me on Etsy, and I'd say you did not go backwards, man. Like that's pretty dope.
I did okay. I'm pretty happy with where I ended up. Etsy is far more successful. I hate to use that word. I don't know if I can use that word or not. It does far better than I anticipated. That's for sure. And I took on some help. Although he left me, he's leaving me for 3 months. He left me back. Yesterday was his last day. Back. But it was nice having him with me for the time I had him. I had him from August to January. So
Dude,
that
having a
was
little
really nice.
extra pair of hands is really nice.
You know what? I couldn't see how it would work in my tiny shop, right? I have a tiny 2-car garage shop, and I get it. I understand a lot of people would kill for a 2-car garage shop, but when you're working and you're doing several projects at once and you're working around all those machines, because I do have a lot of machines in that tiny space, and you know, I couldn't see how it would be feasible to work with another human in there, but we made it work, and it was nice. It was nice. It was extra motivating having somebody in there, you know, working with me, because I felt like I had to be in there to keep things going.
One less person to disappoint.
Right. So it was more helpful in more ways than one. So yeah.
Heck yeah, man. So very proud of you. Speaking of also bringing on help, Mike, your goal for last year, you wanted to obviously scale your business and do more staffing. You were talking about you were thinking about bringing Sean on full time and also bringing on Matt. And like, look at you now. You're like, what, 3 employees in now?
Yeah, Matt and Sean are full time. They're like the core crew. We
Yeah.
got Justin now is part time. He is.
For now.
I know. For now, I don't know.
Still, you brought.
I don't know. Like what the plan is. Yeah, but they're on full time. But like Justin is going to be probably full time faster than I think he will be. But yeah, right now he's part time, and I'll talk about more on the bench. But we're like actually in like a really nice position right now with things. I mean, it's actually like the pace isn't so crazy. I'm not so stressed in the shop like I was for the last like 5 months. But I kind of feel like that's
crazy lead up to the holidays. You're ironically got slower around the holidays than everyone else.
Who got slower?
Like you got well, not slower.
No, I was slammed. Are you kidding me? I just got caught up. I was like never been more stressed in my life than I have been.
All right. Well,
but during
the year,
but like Pete's defense, during that Christmas episode, you were really chill and calm.
I haven't seen you that calm in months.
Yeah.
Oh, during the holidays. Yeah. The holiday, like we literally got done like the week before Christmas. Like everything got cut. I didn't take on any holiday stuff this year. I literally got done like the week before Christmas.
But so you were talking about, you know, bringing the guys on full time, scaling your business. You scaled your business like crazy. You put a shop down on your property. You said you're also going to chase YouTube. You started working with Peter, got all those videos out, which are really good. Go check them out. Dan and Mike have been putting out a lot of content on YouTube. Make sure to check out those videos. I mean, you were talking about getting your like install license, which you ended up getting that.
But we don't talk about that.
Killed it. We don't talk about that. But he got it. He got all the goals he set. You know, he said like you said last year, I'm pretty sure it's gonna be the same way this year. You're a very goal-driven person. You hit your goals. I think the only goal you didn't hit was you did not get the Christmas tree farm up. But
yeah, that's not gonna be like that. Just has to be backburnered so fast. No, it's not that it's not gonna be. It's just I can't think
more
about
important
it right now.
things right
too many
now,
other
man.
things. Yeah, there's just too much other stuff going on. Like there's way too many other things. Like that was like a fun hobby, but now it's like my free time is eaten up by just kind of trying to stay on top of everything with the property. It's so much property to maintain. It's just a lot. So I don't have the time that I want for that, but I'm working towards it.
We'll talk
more about that in the goals. So
yeah, exactly. So, and then me. So for me, my big thing was I wanted to lean heavier into automation, 3D printing, laser work. And I did. I went from 3 3D printers to 9. And I went.
Wait, you bought 6 3D printers all last year?
Yes.
Man.
Yeah. It was a big, crazy first half of the year. I grew a lot real fast. So I got all those printers with most of the profits off the holidays. Was just like, all right, I can do it more and I need it to keep up. So I leaned heavier into automation.
Kudos.
Especially, I also got more machines because I wanted to be able to do more all at once and then take breaks instead of constantly having to run the machines 24/7. So I was able to stockpile a little bit. I did that. I upgraded my laser to the Laguna EX, which I wanted to for years. And I honestly, that was my goal for that year, but I didn't think I was going to get it last year. And we were able to make it work, upgrade the shop with that. Super excited because that thing was pinnacle for my holiday sales. I would not be able to cut as many items as I wanted to for the holidays. And I would have made a fraction of the money I made this holiday season because most of the stuff that I sold around the holidays was laser cut. And then the last like goal I had, I just kind of threw it out at the end. I was like, I want to hit 40 followers on IG. Or 40,000. 40,000. 40. I got that 40
big goals.
real fast. Yeah. So 40,000
Set 'em
followers.
low.
I'm at 44K. So
Hey,
I
nice
hit the
job.
goal. Yeah. The only
Nice,
goal we
dude.
didn't really hit is me and Emma were going to start a podcast. We're still going to start a podcast. That's maybe.
Oh yeah, the
2023
couple
goal.
hustle. I forgot about that.
Yeah. Still on the books. We've just been busy, but there's some stuff about my goals for this year that will include that. So guys,
Mike and I can pretend to be a couple, and we'll be your first guest.
Oh, you guys will kill it. You guys totally like. Dan, I'm sorry. You're definitely the bottom on that one.
That's okay.
It's
I'm
just
okay
the
with
beard.
that.
It's just
I'm
the
okay
beard.
with it. I'm okay with that. I like being the bottom.
Mike's got
Less
a power
work.
top beard. But hey, I gotta say though, I'm really proud of us.
This conversation. Edit all this out.
No, listen, we set some goals last year, and we killed it. We actually hit all our goals. We grew our businesses. We got to the next step. I think we got to aim even higher because we really are able to do what we want to set our minds to do. So with that, why don't we jump into what's on the bench and talk about our goals a little bit?
Well,
Mike,
let's
I'll
talk
let you
about our
take
goals
over.
and then jump on our bench. How about
Yeah,
that?
let's
I
do
think
that.
it's kind of just that's different. So Dan's will go super quick because he doesn't like goals. So Dan,
Yeah, it's easy
What
to
do you-
hit your goals when
Yeah.
you don't set goals.
boom.
Not how this works. That's not how any of this works.
Okay, Pete, let's talk about our goals.
No,
Dan
I
can
want to hear.
Dan
Like,
get the timestamp for when he wants to put silly clown noises in and stuff.
well, why don't we do this, Mike? I want to hear your goals. Dan, you think about your life,
I'm
your
thinking.
choices.
Thinking.
Go.
So my goals this year is I'd really like to be able to provide my employees. So it's weird because I have a goal to provide my employees with health insurance. But right now it's just Matt. Like Sean doesn't need health insurance because his spouse has a government job and has really great medical insurance. So it's kind of like when like I don't want to do as like a owner of a business goal kind of thing. I don't know. It's kind of maybe it's not even necessary, but maybe instead of that, I'll just help cover give Matt money to offset his costs. But either way, providing health benefits is something I'd really like to do for my employees. And having that as a package as part of employment for the company would be something to be really attractive to bring employees on. So I'd like to do that. And I would also like to kind of set my position because I have an S Corp. So I need to actually set up a structured salary for myself, which I do not have. I've been kind of just like investing everything into the business. So like, I mean, I've been paying myself, but like not like a set salary. So that's something I'd like to work on for this year. And we like to get the P&L sheet figured out and everything. We're going to get all the projections figured out probably in the next few months and set me with like an actual salary. So that's something I want to do. Actually, I don't really care about doing it, but it's a goal I need to get done because it's something I need to do for my business. The other thing is I'd like to kind of pull myself out of the day-to-day more. I don't really want to do the day-to-day stuff that often. I just kind of want to build stuff. That's all I want to do. Like just the cool stuff. Like I just want to be a part of I want to sell all the work and I want to be in charge of QA, like what goes out the door. I want to make sure I put in my eyes on everything because my name's on it. That's kind of what I want to do, but I don't want to I don't want to do it. Like, I don't want to build that stuff. Like the shelves, honestly, Matt's essentially taken over that entire project, that entire contract. Matt just kind of runs with it. The Redwood cookies, Sean can do entirely by himself with an assistant, which is what Justin has become kind of Sean's assistant for that. So those are our two main contracts. There's more contracts coming with that customer. So we're kind of trying to figure out operational space. So that kind of leads into my biggest goal for the year, which is to build a very large building on my property. I don't know if that's going to happen this year because it is a lot. It's not just a lot of money. The money isn't so much of a deal as much as making it actually happen. Like it's really hard to make those things happen in this county and in the state. And it just takes a lot of coordination. And I'm so busy with the business that it's really hard to devote like months and months of time to getting this done. So it's probably just going to take a long while, which is fine. But I really need space really bad. We're already like out of space. Like we're trying to pack up and ship these 20 Redwood cookies and they're literally scattered throughout both buildings while we're trying to package them up. It's a nightmare. So I'm actually looking at buying another shipping container. I'm looking at buying but a 40-foot one this time that we're going to put next to the 20-footer just to store the cookies and the packaging material for them. So we're going to build racks in there. We're going to build racks down one side. On
Racks
the front
on
of it
racks
is where,
on racks.
racks on racks, baby. No, we're gonna do racks down one side. We're gonna do a little desk up front where we can finish them and then they can go onto the racks. And we're just trying to figure out solutions. Like it's just like constantly having to tack on solutions to this operation, and it's tough right now. Like I just need a big open space where I can build my business inside of it. And then bouncing from building to building sucks. Like it just straight up sucks. Like we have the finishing booth, which is nice to have a finishing booth. I understand that, but it sucks having to take a unfinished piece outside to another building, especially when it's dumping rain. It's a nightmare. We have to plan everything. Like we have to put tarps over things and take them to the other building. It's a nightmare, especially when you have 200 shelves you need to spray.
Yeah.
Walking a big piece across an uneven surface and having that risk of like falling and dropping it.
Yeah, that is definitely a pain too. And then sometimes we'll like take a piece out and then like a bug will just land on it and die. And it's like, now I got to resand the spot. You know, it's just like super dumb stuff. So I just want to be
bugs.
I don't want to deal with it anymore. So we did kind of make one of the problems going from the main building to the CNC building. That issue is kind of gone now with, we put a door in finally. That took too long, but put a door in between. So that is almost not, they're almost like one building now, but it still isn't one building. It's not one building. It's almost like one building. So it's just, it still has its limitations. And the other kind of bummer thing that you don't really think about is that Matt spends his entire day in the CNC building. And if we don't have anything to do over there, he doesn't see anyone. He's by himself the whole day, which
so lonely
sucks. You know,
you gotta get him a little friend to play with.
See Matt. Well, I mean, we go in there and stuff, but like, I mean, really, it's not like ideal. I don't want him to have to be in there by himself all day long. You know, it's kind of it is lonely, you know, and he's doing his work, and Matt doesn't really care. But for me, I'd rather have it be like a more of a culture environment where like we get to commiserate with each other and be with
ping pong table.
So it kind of sucks being.
Oh wait, that's
solid walnut ping pong table.
Yeah.
Leather fence.
Yeah, that's
leather.
That would be sick. Do the what's his name? Jory Brigham.
Yeah.
The Jory Brigham ping pong table made of walnut.
Yeah,
That'd be sick.
Exactly.
Did he do that?
Yeah, Jory did one out of
with
walnut.
The leather.
Of course he did.
Yeah.
Of course he did.
It's dope. So yeah, new building's kind of the biggest goal, but kind of pulling myself out of the day-to-day and more like lifting up my employees to be in more of positions of, I don't want to say the word of ownership, but like taking on, you know, tasks within the business work, because I know I can trust them, and then paying them what they deserve to do that is kind of my goal.
Mike,
so
there's one thing I learned about working at
company.
like corporate jobs for years is that nothing brings up spirits more than a pizza party.
Right.
Really shows them their value.
Yeah. Pizza parties.
Forget holiday bonuses. No one wants that.
Yeah. No one wants
pizza party.
Bonuses, yeah. Pizza parties are lame, man. So lame. But yeah, I mean, those are things. But then my other thing is now with the cinematographer, with our videographer, you know, with Peter involved, you know, I really want to lean into YouTube, and I really want to get back into, I mean, when I got into all this, my plan was I want to do content and I want to have a furniture business. And now I have a furniture business, and it's kind of on its way. It's on a good track right now to where it's sustainable. I want to be able to focus on content really bad. And with Peter, that is an option now. It just was not an option because I couldn't put content out onto the platform that I actually care about, which is YouTube. So now we're actually able to get out content. And I don't know what's going to happen with the channel, but I really have high hopes for the channel. So me and Peter's goal is both to hit that channel to 100,000 by this year. I don't know if that's going to happen, but that's our goal. And we really want, I mean, we're seeing really good growth now, and we're seeing really high CTR, and we're still figuring everything out, but we just don't know what's going to happen there. And, you know, truth be told, Peter's very expensive. He is Peter.
Sorry, I have to.
Peter, stop. Don't do it again. No, I'm sorry. But Peter's like a highly paid professional. He's a TV and movie professional. This is what he makes good money doing this. He is investing his time into this thing that we're building together. Like he and I both have skin in this game. Like I run a furniture business. I'm taking time out of my day, sometimes 16 hours a week, to build this YouTube channel. He's doing the same. You know, he's doing more than that. He's actually putting more time in than I am because he's there filming it with me. He also has to edit it for at least a day. So he's putting more time into this. So for me, this isn't something that I need for it to work really well just for me. I need it to work really well for Peter as well, because I need him to have money coming out of this thing. So, because otherwise he'll just have to stop. You know, I need him to make the money that he needs to make out of it. So we're trying to figure out how to leverage all that stuff. And we're both very patient, but we have goals for sure with that. And, 100,000 is what we want for the year.
Can I ask you, have you set like a deadline with Peter on like, okay, if we're not at this point in this point of time, should we throw in the towel or
Yeah, we have.
that okay?
So yeah, we've hit goal. We've had those discussions for sure. So those discussions everything's been discussed. We've been very clear about what we want, and we're both very patient. I mean, we both are very excited too. Like every time we start working on a new video, we're kind of figuring out our cadence and how we work together, and we're getting faster and faster. Like we literally built and filmed that desk in 2 days. I mean, I'm really impressed with that. Like me and Sean built that desk in 2 days. It was a slab of wood to build a desk with a cabinet in 2 business days. And Peter came and filmed all of it. And in between that, Peter and I filmed like 3 other videos. While like glue ups were happening, we filmed the jig video. We filmed a video for the Shaper. We filmed a video for Festal, and we started a video for, anyway, we got 5 videos done over a 2-day period. Like we got 4 videos done and another one started. So we're getting into like a really good rhythm where I come in with an outline and I have everything ready. Like here's the videos we're going to work on right now. Here's what we can get to. And I have the whole thing broken out. And then as we're going, what Peter does is he asks the questions that a viewer would ask. And then he interviews me for the talking head portion of it. And that's what becomes the talking head portion of the video. So if there's like there's a viewer question, like he becomes the viewer, and then he kind of asks the question, but we're trying not to pose it as me answering a question as much as me making a statement that would answer that question. Not like, hey, why is there a miter here? I'm not going to say, well, there's a miter here because I'm going to say, hey, we put this miter here. And it's just kind of addressing viewer questions. So
it's felt very natural so far in the videos. It's been very,
and Peter, if you watch the videos, they're short. Like there's no fat. Peter cuts out all anyway, sorry, I'm going on a total tangent here. The point is content is something I really, really want to lean into finally in a way that I'm really excited about. So I'm really excited about content. I'm excited about YouTube, and I really want to see where we can do with that. And I've got a lot of brands that are very excited about the YouTube channel as well. Like I'm really excited that the relationships I've built with some of these brands, they're seeing me make an investment in YouTube and they're showing excitement on it, which is very exciting. So really excited for what the future of that could become. I don't know what it will become, but that one feels a lot more tenuous than the stuff with the business. The business stuff, I feel like I have a better grasp on than the content because I'm just trying to figure it out. So anyway, Pete, what about you?
All right. So I haven't really thought about this at all, but here's my list. So obviously grow the business. Like grow the business is a thing. I kind of for a while was kind of going back and forth with the whole like I want to go full time. I want to quit my job, but then like I really like my job, and as long as I can continue to maintain that while growing my business, I'm gonna keep doing it. And then one day, hopefully make that very smooth transition to just, all right, I'm done. I can just replace my income and do my thing. So the main goal is to keep growing a business. I do want to scale it up every year over year. I've been making more and more and more. This year being no exception. So like 2023, I definitely want to grow it because I have some bigger goals. And one of the things that's been helping me out more is I kind of started this pre-Christmas, like as I was wrapping up my final days, is I started structuring my days a little better and really dedicating the time. I forget what the principle is called, but like when you fill the time you are given to do a task. If you are told to do something in an hour, you'll get it done in an hour. If you give yourself 3 hours for a 45-minute task, it'll take you 3 hours. So I've been trying to get a little better with structuring my time and actually saying like, I'm working this time, this is my administrative time, and then I'm going to get in the shop for these amount of hours. And then leaving and not just being like, well, I could still do another hour and a half in a shop and be burned out the next day. I'm actually saying like, no, I said I'm going to be done at 11. I'm going to go wind down and then be in bed before 12:30. So I've been trying to get a little better with that. That's actually really been making a huge impact on my day to day. And I think it's going to help me structure what is a side gig turn almost like a second full-time job, be a little more structured like a full-time job, so that I'm not burning myself out. I'm literally scheduling relaxed and chill time into that so that I'm not burning out every day. So I think that's gonna be good because otherwise I'll just work until I'm exhausted and then I'll feel like I still have to hang out for 30 minutes to an hour before I go to bed to relax. So it's not healthy, but I've been doing that. It's been working great. I'm really excited about it. I'm also incorporating Emma into a lot more of my work. That was one of my goals for last year, is having her help me out with some of the administrative, some of the emails. So she's helped me write some emails, do some brands.
Is she a willing participant here?
Yes, no, she is. Yeah. Okay. Blink once,
just check
yes. So she's been helping out, and we've actually been talking about potentially her doing a essentially a change in her career. She teaches, but she teaches an hour away, so she drives an hour away multiple times, or 4 or 5 times a week, or 4 times a week right now, and like that's a lot. So she's looking to maybe do some like remote work and work from home and change careers, and one of that is actually her starting her own like freelancing gig where she does a lot of like Canva work, a lot of editing work for people that she does for friends and family. Now we're going to be pivoting that into a business, and I'm actually incorporating that into my business. So she's my COO of the company now, but I'm getting her more involved, and it's really great. She's been helping me revamp some of my Etsy listings, some of my SEO, and I'm going to try to train her more on that because she's actually opened up her Etsy shop too. So that's really cool. So we're going to be kind of running that side by side. Aside from that, I need to start, this kind of kicked me in the butt about 2 weeks ago. I was like, all right, I need to think about my goals for next year. And then I thought back to my goals from the year before that, and I was like, okay, I want to have my shop built on my property within 5 years. And then I immediately yelled at myself in my head going, what are you talking about, dude? It's been a year. You have 4 years. You can't reset the clock. You can't say 5 years again a year later.
Why like, 5 years?
That was the goal I set. We moved in, and I said, in 5 years, I want to have a shop fully built, all tools moved in, insulated, everything. This year I was thinking like, oh yeah, I got 5 years for that. No, you don't. Start thinking about it. Start working on it. Start setting money aside. Start talking to the city. Start talking to the electrical companies. So that's the goal for this year. Is we're gonna start.
Can I give you a word of advice?
Yes, please.
Get a general contractor. Don't do any of that stuff.
Oh no, I don't want to like build it myself. I just watched Cremona's video for him doing.
You don't need to what? You don't need to get. You don't need to
cut a Menards kit.
Just get a.
Did you? By the way, Cremona got a Menards kit. Did you know that? Menards sells Barnes. But no, I agree.
Just get a general contractor to handle all that for you. It's just a waste of time. They know what they're doing.
Oh, you're talking about the actual like licensing, city, county, all that stuff.
Yeah, you pay them like $1,200. They go do it all for you. They'll go do it. Like they'll pull all the permits. They know how to deal with all those bozos down there. They'll go pull the permits. They'll get all the licensing for you. It's all just pay them to do it.
I'm guys, look at that.
Any of that. I'm gonna pull out a loan and have someone do it. Like
I can check that one off my list for this year. I'm doing great so far. I'm ahead of the curve. No, but I'm serious. Like I was gonna. No, honestly, I was gonna call the city, start calling like different places to see what the quotes are.
Spend your time finding a contractor that you jive with.
Okay. See, this is good. This is good. But I definitely want to start the work. I would love to break ground on this building this year. But
you can
within the next 2 years or so, I think I can do it. Which kind of lean, like one of the things I want to do this year is I want to see if I can replace my income, my job, my regular day job income. I'm still going to keep working it, but I want to replace it. I'm getting close, but I'm not like there yet. So if I can basically double my income every single year, that would be amazing. And then if I quit my job, it'll be that much easier to make that transition than to take that big leap of faith and like, oh, well, I have no income now, going from, whatever 1,000 to 10,000 a year. Like, no, I don't want to do that. I want to make a nice, smart transition where it makes sense for me. And one thing I'm going to parrot that Mike said is I do want to lean more into YouTube. I don't have a videographer or anything like that, but I want to start getting some of these videos out. I do have someone that's going to be helping me out with some editing. And my goal would be I would love to, I'm about 1,080 subs on YouTube. I would love to hit 5,000 subs this year. I think that's a nice, modest, but good goal. If I put out enough videos, I think I can do it. So that's kind of my thing. And that's going to be a thing that's going to help me elevate my business into the whole, like replacing my income category. Anyways, that's me. That's my year. Dan, I want to hear your full list. Don't give me the short version.
I don't make goals.
I don't make
Which is what I've said in the past, okay? I don't make goals. just because goals are so fluid, they can change, and it feels overwhelming at times. But I have made some goals for 2023.
Dan,
Go ahead.
Can I cut you off for a sec?
Yeah, please do.
One of the greatest things Emma ever told me, and she read it somewhere in a book, and it's literally helped me reframe my goals, is she said the goals don't change, the time frame does. So the goals don't change. Like, you're still gonna want to hit those goals. Like, it's okay to set the goals.
In that case,
this might not be in a year.
I want to fly to
might
Mars.
Be 6 months. No, I'm serious. I'm serious. Like,
okay, interesting.
Like, you know, you might, even if you don't hit it in a year, that's, what are your goals that you would love to see in your shop? Whether it
well,
is
I thought we were talking about goals for 2023, but I thought we're
if you switching you can use your rollover minutes for 2024.
Look, last year, like Pete said, I didn't want to make goals because I think goals are silly. But however, I have made goals for 2023. After seeing the growth that I had in 2022, I feel motivated, and I really want to like set goals to hit at the end of the 2023. I'm going to drop numbers, and I'm not ashamed of them. They're not astounding numbers. They're not crazy numbers. They're not numbers that are making me rich, but I will say I grossed about $50,000 revenue on Etsy, which just blows my mind. I never thought I would see that number. I never had a goal for that number, but seeing that number is like it's really motivated me to do more, I feel like. So with that said, I'd like to double that for 2023. That seems a little far off, but hey, why not? I feel like I can do it. And that number,
nice. You can do it.
That number is just from like bow ties and zero clearance inserts. I'd like to break into the market of like smaller shippable furniture, like end tables, coffee tables, you know, what have you. So I'm gonna focus on that a little bit. Also, like I talked about earlier, I did bring on sort of a helper in Isaiah. He wasn't actually an employee. You know, that's for the IRS. But I'd like to bring on him full time sometime this year. Maybe we'll see what happens. And you know, content has been treating me well too. I'm making roughly currently about $4,000 a month just in content, which is wild to me. I never thought that would be a thing, but you know what? That's fine and dandy right now. That could all slide away at the drop of a hat. So
still
you really can't count on that either, but I would like to grow that. We'll see what the future brings with that. So, and I have been focusing on YouTube a little bit like Mike has, but it's been kind of sporadic. So I'd like to focus more on that and see what that brings me.
Your videos have been doing really well. It's been nice to see you pop.
They're doing okay. Mike's are doing a lot better than mine, but they're doing okay.
Hey, they're doing better than zero videos.
They are doing better than zero videos.
Great.
That's for sure.
But you know how those work too. Like, I mean, you've had it happen. Put a video out there.
Oh yeah, you put a video out there and
explodes. I mean,
3 or 4 months later, yeah, you bet. Yeah. You never know. So yeah, goals. That's it. That's it for me. I don't have a lot to talk about there, but there we are.
And now I'm gonna just ask a question about
please ask me questions.
You had like a mid-year, which was you were exploring getting into a new space, like actually renting a space.
Oh yeah. That's
so. Is that something you're still considering?
Yes. Thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah.
If things keep going like they're going, I need to find a bigger and better space. Absolutely have to. I cannot grow anymore if I don't have a bigger space, because it is hard AF to do what I do in a 2-car garage with 2 people currently. So I definitely need a bigger space where I can do multiple things at once. And on top of that, one of the other things that I'd like to do this year is bring on a second CNC, a bigger drum sander, because a drum sander is vital to what I do. and possibly a large laser. So we'll see. I think 2023 is going to be a big year of big change or
Bye-bye, Microsoft
big
Station.
growth steps or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
We'll see.
Well, that's awesome. I'm glad you're setting not goal thingies, whatever we're gonna call them.
I honestly cannot wait to revisit these next year.
I hate saying that I have goals, but I have goals.
You do. Maybe rephrase it. Just call it things you would like.
Okay.
That's just a goal.
Things I'd like to happen.
Things I'd like to accomplish. Things I'd like to have happen with my own actions. We're not calling them goals.
Mike, we have to use different words for him.
Yeah, Pete, I got your text just now. I'm gonna do a behind the curtain thing. Yeah, let's not do what's on our bench this week. Yeah.
Oh, that one.
Oh yeah, different.
Yeah, we're gonna skip what's on a bench because we kind of we went heavy into goals this year.
Yeah, and I mean, whatever. There's not much.
Because last year it was a question. Ed Mancini called in with 2 questions. How dare he? He called in and he asked a question. We just kind of quickly went through it. But I'm really glad we went into it in detail this time because this is gonna be great next year. Foreshadowing.
I'm actually gonna read I'm gonna read this question first. The write in, and this is from Tomas. Basically, Tomas, sorry you couldn't call in, buddy. He's not feeling well. He asked us if you could never do woodworking, what would you do? Dan?
Oh, I told you in the pre-show, hand modeling. You think I was joking?
No,
hand modeling.
Yeah. Fun fact, Dan was the Thing in a New Wednesday show. The one Netflix? Yeah.
I was.
He's working on his verified check mark.
They're creepy and they're crawling.
That was good.
I don't know. That's a really tough question. I don't know. I'd probably go back to photography, I guess. Whatever I would do, it would be something that I can do for myself and not have to work for somebody else. I'll tell you that much.
So you still be a business owner.
Yeah, Pete.
I am in a very fortunate position of most of my financial growth has come from 3D printing and basically robot and Dogecoin, which by the way I checked recently is not doing well. Mm-hmm. But came from robots working for me, and I'm assuming if I couldn't do woodworking, it was something like maybe not to be too dark, but I can't walk or I can't use my hand or hands, or maybe there's a whatever. I would still try, kind of how Dan says, I would still try to lean into some kind of business ownership. And the nice thing is I've established myself as 3D printing and modeling and all that, and that you don't need too many skills once you got the work modeled out and everything. So there's potential there. So I'd probably just stick to the thing, walk away from woodworking and stick to 3D printing and modeling and more computer work. Mike, what about you?
Man, that's a really tough question. If I hadn't gotten to woodworking, I'd probably have stayed at my family's business and never learned how much I love being self-employed and running my own business. Yeah, right. So, I've said it before and I'll say it a million times. I'm so thankful to woodworking for what it's brought to my life. And it's taught me a lot about myself and given me a passion. So, yeah, I don't know. It's a sad thing to think about if I wasn't able to do woodworking or it never came along. So, Dan, wait, you already answered.
He did.
Yep.
Yeah.
What a dummy.
I can answer again if you want.
He said the sex hand model thing.
Yeah. This second question, this first voicemail is from Adam Barnett.
Hey guys, Adam here from Barnett Builds. Happy New Year. So it's 2023 and I hope somebody asks you what your goals for the new year are and if you guys achieved your goals from last year and all that stuff. I figure someone will, so I'm not going to ask that question. But if they didn't, you can count that as a question. So my question is about my goals. I moved the whole shop and I got a new job and everything all at once, life hit hard. So Barnett Builds was basically just put on hold. I didn't take commissions and I shut down the Etsy shop pretty much completely. And now I want to get that going again. What do you guys recommend as the best way to jumpstart my Etsy shop? Any tips and tricks and angles I should play for that? And the other side of my question is also, off of Etsy, I have a bigger, more capable shop now, and I want to get back into furniture and commissions. And what do you guys recommend as far as it's 2023, the best way to market yourself in this new year? What do you think the key things to hit other than Facebook Marketplace, because that place is the worst? But I'll probably use Facebook Marketplace because it's better than nothing. But what do you guys recommend?
I'm gonna throw it to Pete.
All right. So first thing I'm going to say is to jumpstart your Etsy is just start listing things on Etsy, and every single small to medium sized job you have coming up, run through Etsy as if it's Venmo or PayPal. If you're trying to establish yourself, get reviews and get sales, it's a great way to list a custom listing for someone that someone would purchase. And maybe they would even post a photo of the item being listed there. When you are getting established that, and you already are making things and you're used to doing Venmo transaction, cash, whatever, that's a great way to do like someone just charging their credit card. It's a very painless thing for the consumer on the other end, but also you're earning a sale and potentially a review. And just be transparent with it. Like, hey, I'm going to my Etsy shop. If you don't mind, I'm just going to list it. I'm just going to have you purchase it, pay that fee. I know it's a bummer, but pay the fee, list that listing there, make it a custom one, whatever, make the photo. It doesn't really matter. It's just as long as they buy and they leave you a review, that could be huge for growing your shop. So I highly recommend that. As far as marketing yourself, you mentioned you just moved. And one of the things that I started doing is I started talking to any and every small business around me that I can get in the door, meet the owner, and just kind of chat with them. Started making friends. And in the like I've been here for about a year and a half. Within the last 6 months, I started handing out business cards, and it's paying dividends because they all now know me. You know, unfortunately, more at the liquor store than the farm, but still, they know me. You know, like I got to meet the owners.
Ah, that's the guy who likes the Zima.
That's the guy. Yeah, so Sam at the liquor store, and then whatever their names are at the other places. Sad that I know them better too. But no, but I'm kidding. But realistically, like start talking to local businesses because those might be some of your bigger, more common sales. Or if you're known to them, if someone asks them like, hey, do you know anyone that does this? They will recommend you. So try to get in with your community, depending on how small or big your town is, doesn't matter. Just start to get in with some businesses that are in the area. I think that's a great way to market yourself and get off of Marketplace on Facebook because it's awful. Is this still available? Dan, is this still available?
Yeah, Facebook Marketplace is awful, awful, awful. I don't list anything there. I cannot stand that place because, yeah, is this still available? It's just garbage. And a lot of people think that Etsy's garbage, but you know, whatever. That's how they feel. Little tips and tricks for Etsy. Every little thing matters. Packaging, little notes that you put in with every order. I put in and I think Pete does the same thing. As a matter of fact, I know he does because I got this from Pete. Put in a little thank you note and say, hey, thank you for ordering from me and please give me a review. Just a reminder to people to review their purchase. It goes a long, long way. Those reviews are regarded heavily on Etsy. And like Pete talked about, anytime you make a sale, try to transfer that to Etsy. I get people reaching out to me all the time, asking me if I could do certain custom one-off things. And I'm like, yeah, sure. I'll make you a custom Etsy listing. You can buy it from there. That's a great way to do it. We've talked about this before. On Etsy, it's ABL. Always be listing. Yes. Etsy loves that constant influx of like products and stuff. So if they see that you're an active shop and you're constantly listing stuff, they're going to promote you. They are. And then also, don't be afraid to throw a few dollars at Etsy advertising. It sounds like a lot of money. If you're doing $1 a day, that's $30 a month. Man, that's a couple coffees a week. You got this. $1 a day. I am up to like $10 or $12 a day. But it's worth it. It's worth it. Yeah, I think that's all I got. I don't have anything else other than Etsy because that seems to be where I focus all my energy these days. So
it works. Don't fix it.
I'm gonna throw it to Mike and see what he says.
If you want to focus on Etsy, I would just focus on Etsy. I wouldn't really focus on Facebook Marketplace. That seems like a nightmare.
Oh,
They can't.
It
There's
is.
no like entity that's gonna. There's no entity that's going to get your back if they try to like murder you or steal you. I don't know. They're not gonna like. There's no like. There's with Etsy at least they kind of have your back a little bit. You know, not so much with that other platforms any other. I mean, what else is there? Just running your own website. I don't even consider Facebook Marketplace a place to sell goods you've made. Is it? Is that a thing people do?
I mean, people use it, but it's
People use it for.
I would use it
sales.
for selling stuff that you couldn't sell in a garage sale. I mean, like, come on.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, hey, I need to get rid of this couch, not hey, I made a bespoke shelf. But anyway, I'm not gonna be able to add more than Pete or Dan.
Send business to your Etsy or website where like post on like Dan's the king of this. He'll go to like a festival site and be like, oh, I just made a zero clearance insert for my festival Capex. And then a bunch of people are like, I want that. Where can I get it? And he goes, oh, I guess if you want to buy one, here's my link.
I've
And
done
then
that.
he pins it. Yeah, and then everyone buys it. Like he's the king of that.
It works.
It works.
Yeah.
It works.
I haven't
done it because
more than Dan or
I'm
Pete.
ashamed of that.
I can't add more than Dan or Pete. They're on their Etsy game way more than I am. The next question is from Daniel Taylor.
What's going on, y'all? Daniel with Taylor Custom Crafted. I hope everyone has had an awesome new year. Hopefully no one made any stupid resolutions. Anyways, my question is this. I have probably one of the cheapest Grizzly 6-inch bed joiners they make, and I just cannot get consistent results.
Was this question
out of
from
it.
last week?
When
No.
I try to edge
No,
joint,
he's
glue
revisiting
up,
the question.
it's probably 50-50. Half the time it's good and half the time it's not. I make sure the fence is at a 90-degree to the bed. I'm even using one of those fancy woodpecker tools. I mean, it should be accurate, right? So anyways, here's what I'm thinking. I'm considering selling this hunk of junk and just setting up a jig system with a match fit kit to maybe get some better consistency out of edge joining boards for glue up. Another reason to do this is to add some more to the funds to buy a laser. That's what I'm trying to do now to expand the business. What do you think I should do? Pew pew! Pew 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 pew!
Okay.
I appreciate the extras.
I don't know what that was, but I want
Doesn't matter.
more of it.
But it's provocative. It gets the people going.
Dan, I want you to answer this first.
Look, I'm not
because
trying
I'll
to
be
talk
real
you.
honest. I wasn't paying attention, and I don't know what he asked. Dan,
Daniel, I'm not trying to talk you out of buying a laser or anything else, but it almost sounds to me like your blades and that Grizzly jointer. I'm gonna assume that the blades are straight knives, right? It almost sounds to me like the blades in that jointer are not coplanar with the table itself, which is
Coplanar is just a fancy word for dead nuts flat.
yeah. So like if you're taking your square and you're trying to square up your table with your fence, and that comes out perfectly square, but every time you run a piece through it, you don't get something square. It screams to me that the blades are not coplanar with the table. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
yeah, there's some there. I mean, I know that those cheaper. Well, I'll go on my thing.
yeah.
Good.
If you want to sell it. But I would look into, trying to square that up a little bit before I would go down that road. But yeah, for sure there are better jointers out there. I don't have any other answers other than that. I want to see what Mike has to say.
I've heard stories of the cheaper Grizzly jointer not being great. So my understanding is that you need to shim some things. I don't know how that process works. I know there's videos out there on it. So I believe that the beds need to be coplanar, obviously.
Right.
But my understanding is that one will have a tilt to it. So that is going to cause issues for sure. I I would just do a little like, I know that jointer has issues and that people have fixed it. So it's probably worth your effort. If the time to fix it takes longer than just selling it and buying another jointer, I would just do that. Was his question whether or not to just get a laser and not a jointer?
No. So his question was, he has a cheap 6-inch jointer. He can't get good edges. He was asking if it's worth like to just invest like a micro jig jointer sled thing. Wow.
No. Is he not joining his faces? Because if he's not joining his faces, then he's not going to get a good edge. You need to joint your faces before your edges, dude. If your faces
that
are
could
not
be a possibility.
If he's not joining his faces and then going to his edges, it's going to push off of his fence on his 90 fence and make it so it doesn't get a straight
That's true.
edge. Yeah. You need to joint your faces before your edge. Always joint face, then edge, then you plane or line rip your other parallel line, and then you plane.
All about reference.
You need to do face, then edge, face, then edge. If you're doing edge and then face, you have to have a flat face to get your edge joint square. You have to.
That's true. It's more reference surface.
So yeah, you have to have that reference against that fence. You need it. So if you're not doing that, you need to do your
face
joint and then your edge joint.
He had some other questions though, Pete. What were those?
Then he also asked about if because he's looking to save some money and he's basically trying to avoid avoid getting a new jointer because he wants to get a bigger laser. So is it just cheaper? Is it better? Like, is a joiner sled, like a micro jig joiner sled for the table saw fine?
You need a joiner in your shop. I mean, actually, I don't know what Daniel makes, but if you're in a wood shop, you have to have a joiner. It's like the first tool your pieces of wood need to hit in your shop.
I agree with Mike.
It just needs, you have to have a joiner in a wood shop. If he's making tchotchkes, then I don't know that you have to have a joiner in your shop.
Or patty wax.
And patty wax.
Oh, patty wax. We're so on the same page. I love it.
No, listen. I think you can't have a wood shop without a good joiner. You just have to have a joiner. And honestly, the micro jig thing is cool. I just did a video on the multi jig that I made. I just did a video on it. The multi jig, I use that system to live edge often.
But Mike is 100% right. If you don't have a flat edge to reference, you're not going to get. If you don't have a flat face, to reference, you're not going to get a square edge. You're just not.
Yep.
Yeah. Pete, sorry, hit your thoughts out.
No, my answer is all of the above. As silly as that sounds, you need to dial in that joiner if you want to use it. Those 6-inch joiners could be fine. You got to put in the work to dial that thing in. Your beds are either your blades are too high or too low, or your beds are off and they're not squared up. Get a nice long 6 foot level. Put a light behind it. See where there's light and try to fix it up. When you turn your blades manually, it should make that thing actually walk slightly over, just ever so slightly. Should just be touching the level. If you're moving it a lot or not at all, you need to dial it in. So if you have trouble with that, reach out to me. I'll give you a tip on it because I used to have a smaller joiner that needed a lot of maintenance. That's the first thing. Second thing is you're also going to make that joiner sled with micro jig stuff because honestly they're super easy to make. The cost of entry is not that expensive. Use Mike's link. You can get this stuff or use my link, Petrie. So that's fine.
Yeah, I have a link too, but I don't know what it was.
Make that sled because it'll still come in handy because sometimes you just need to the fence on your table saw is going to be longer than a fence on your joiner. And it's worth actually making that for certain projects. So I highly recommend just having one of those in your shop. The last one is, and this is kind of a left field answer, but depending on what planer you have and how wide that piece of wood is, you can make a pretty simple sled for jointing edges in a planer. It's not my first choice, but if you have a couple boards, you can actually, it comes at like a slight angle. So you're starting on like the right side of the blades and cutting all the way across until the end of it is on the left side. You can get a nice joint that way. And the last one is, and this is a very 18th century solution, get a damn jack plane. Everyone needs to have a jack plane in their shop. There's no reason you can't joint two boards by hand. You joint them, put them together. If you see light coming through, clean up that area. That's how grandma and grandpa did it back in the day. You can still do it now. That's how I actually built my first ever cutting boards before I had a joiner.
Okay.
So
Okay.
No, I'm serious. Grab a joiner. Why
Grandpa
not? Why not a
Pete.
hand tool?
So I made my first cutting board both ways uphill.
Both hills up way. Yep. That's it. But get a joiner. Get a joiner plane. Number 5 jack. Get them for $15 at a yard sale. Next question.
The next question is from Jake Miller.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Jake from a sweet shop. Been a while since I called in, so figured I'd jump in here with a goal for 2023 that I've set and see what your guys' thoughts were on that, as well as how you would go about doing things. So I like most other woodworkers, the biggest thing I struggle with is trying to actually make stuff for myself and for my wife. And what I've found over the last, year or so is I generally take more risks, try different things, different techniques, that sort of thing with work for myself that I wouldn't necessarily do for a customer just because I don't necessarily have the confidence in myself, if that makes any sense. So how would you go about kind of finding a balance between doing work for yourself and kind of pushing the limits of what you know and what you're capable of doing to make your projects better overall versus, a customer project that you're going to hustle and get things done just to, have money coming in, keeping the bills paid. So just be interested to hear what your thoughts are and let me know. Thanks, guys.
Dan.
Don't go to me first.
Oh, he's not ready.
I wasn't ready.
I'll go first.
Mike, Mike, what about you?
So it kind of depends. So sometimes I actually right now, I built this farmhouse style table over the summer, and I've now built it like 4 times, and it's a design that it's a farmhouse style table. So farmhouse, it looks like another farm. So I designed a base for it that I actually really liked. And the design is entirely mine. I didn't take someone else's design and fudge with it. I just took the design and made a design that I thought would look nice for this. So we've built it multiple times now, and it's kind of become a thing now. Like I don't have any creative liberties I can take on that piece. I already took my creative liberties on it. When I designed the base, I did everything I could. It's got a breadboard ends. It's got a farmhouse style base made out of solid hardwood. I won't do it out of pine or anything like that. So I've got my limitations on it. Like farmhouse style tables, I don't want one in my house. But truth be told, I actually really enjoy making them. So I already took my creative liberties. So the problem is now with that is now I've got this product that actually sells itself now. Every time I make one and share it, it sells a couple weeks later, it seems like now. So I can't really expand upon that product anymore because it's kind of locked. So we also just did like a bunch of tables that went to a really cool location. And that creatively felt really good because the tables were very boring. They're just big cutting boards. They're just big cutting boards with metal legs, so there's no creative juices flowing there. I just milled up a bunch of salvage lumber and just kind of made a product, but it went to a cool place. So that actually kind of fulfilled my creative, needs for that project. We did these Monopoly boxes. That thing took a year. The design was entirely mine. Everything about that project in terms of the final product was mine entirely. But it took a year, so that part was exhausting, but the actual product was entirely designed by me. And that creatively felt really good. There were constraints, like the customer had constraints. They had to fit the fake Monopoly not Monopoly, Paradise-opoly money in there. They had to fit all these different things in there. We had to fit a box, it had to be a 10 by 20 inside. We had all these constraints, but I had to design everything within those constraints. So I got to be creative with that, So I do go a little wackier with my personal stuff. But that's unfortunately the nature of commissioned work is like, you're going to have a person telling you what they want. It's not super often that you're going to get a customer go, hey, I need a table. Just build me a table. That's just not going to happen. They're just not going to do that. So you're going to have some constraints that you have to work in. So for me, what I find is I try new methods of building it. And that means new joinery methods. Obviously you can knock out a lot of stuff with the domino. More and more lately, I'm finding myself not using the domino as much. I'm kind of doing more traditional methods to make it more fun. I'm using a panther router too, which isn't a traditional joinery method, but it does attain traditional joinery, which makes it more creatively fun for me as well. So I think it depends on, my answer is it depends on what you find to be a creative expression of what you're doing. And for me, I find different creative expressions in different ways through the project. So for me, it's almost always enjoyable, even if I'm making something I don't necessarily enjoy. Does that make sense? Like I find ways to like look at it in a new way, like we had to do that farmhouse style table dining. It was a table, a L-shaped bench, and 3 chairs. I got to build 3 chairs for the first time. I love building chairs. Now I can't wait to get the next chair commission. In fact, I'm working on a quote right now for a bunch of custom chairs, and it's going to be my biggest single job ever. And I'm just super excited about it. The chairs are going to be they're bar stools. They're going to be entirely designed by me. But they're within the customer's constraints. And frankly, I don't like her style. So I'm probably going to have to make this thing that I'm really excited about because I do like making the chairs, but I'm not going to like the final product. I know I'm not going to like the final product, but I do know that I'm going to like making them because the process of making chairs to me is creatively fulfilling. So I have to look past how it's going to look at the end, because for me, it's going to be a thing where I get to enjoy the process, but not the finished piece. And sometimes I'm able to enjoy the finished piece, but not the process. So I just have to adjust my outlook on it, if that makes sense. So, Pete.
So yeah, I was kind of going to use you as an example, but like you do such a volume where you kind of have to experiment on some of these projects for the customers, but also you're actively trying to get yourself out of the direct workflow of the jobs so that you can build and experiment. And I think it's very important to, especially like Jake is basically like full-time doing his work now. And a lot of his work right now is CNC work, cabinetry, like he's getting into a lot of that stuff. But like when your work yields a certain amount of volume, you need to literally schedule like for 3 hours this day, I'm just going to futz around. I said futz. It's fine. It's a Jersey term. But like you're just going to futz around. You're going to figure out joinery. You should be able to build a small piece of furniture or a table or something. It's something I'm actively trying to do. Like I am setting time aside to be like, I want to practice a dovetail right now, which I've done in the last 2 months. And I haven't even posted about it. It's just for me. I need to get back into furniture making because I fell out of love with it when I hated my space because I had no space because it was shared. So like now getting back into it, I'm having to find, I'm making projects that are a little smaller. I'm working my way uptown, like slowly making my way through like the things I want to remember how to do right, how to experiment, try some new tools, especially some hand tools. I miss using hand tools so much. So I think schedule some time to try some weird projects or at the very least, schedule time to make projects for yourself. Actually set aside, like sit down with your wife, be like, what do we want to do? Let's go from biggest to smallest to biggest, doesn't matter. Set some projects on a list and try to knock those out and set time aside to do that where you're not thinking about the cabinet you have to make or the CNC you have to run. Just do it because you want to do it, because you want to learn and you want to figure out a different way to do it. So if you schedule the time to teach yourself or honestly take a class, either one is fine. You're going to find that you're going to be getting kind of like reinvigorating the love for figuring out new ways of doing things and joinery and all that. Dan, what about you?
I need the cliff notes of what his original question was.
He struggles with making pieces for himself and his wife with the business getting busier.
Oh, is that what he asked? But I thought he said.
Well, that was the first part of it.
Oh,
basically,
okay.
he wants to do most. He used to do most of the experimentation and like trying new things on personal projects, but he doesn't have time for them anymore because the business is too busy. And that's when he used to experiment the most, try new things, and develop new techniques. And he can't do that now because he's too busy.
So what's his question?
How do you find a balance between doing client work that you know how to do and knocking out, and doing personal work where you get to try new things and push your limits a little bit?
Oh yeah, totally misunderstood.
Setting aside,
you guys still all answered it.
Setting aside time for that. You know, you can't work yourself to the bone and then not be creative. You have to set aside personal time for creative work. I mean, I got into this because I'm a creative person and I like to create things. That's, you know, that comes from the photography stuff. You know, photography is a creative field. And if I can't be creative, then it's just humdrum and I hate my life. So I set aside time every week to be creative, even if that is just sitting down and creating something in Aspire so that I could cut it out on the CNC. I mean, to me, that's creativity. Yeah, you just have to set parameters, man.
Absolutely. I think, and that's the thing. We're all too focused with Instagram on making the sale and the business doing well. I literally have a important task, a growth task, and a fun task that I try to knock out every time I'm in a shop. Important being stuff I have to get done. Growth is stuff that helps me grow, teaches me a new skill or something. And if something else is like, you know, I really wanted to organize that shelf. That's a fun task. But like try to knock out those three. Do something that gives you some growth, not just important business, got to get this done and make money thing. Because that's not what it's all about.
Awesome. The next question's from Kate, Little Bug. Sorry, what's Kate? Braden from Little Bug. Yes. Yeah. I apologize, Braden. I should know that by now.
How could you?
Hey guys, it's Braden with Little Bug Woodworking. If you can't tell, I like to reminisce. So I'll try and be more brief than last week, but here's my question. What is a goal that you set in the past for your business as a woodworker that you had absolutely no idea how you were going to accomplish? And what did you do to help make sure that you could meet that goal? Like, I love setting stretch goals. What do you do to help you meet stretch goals? Also, I'd like to know, Mike, has your F-hole ever recovered from the damage that was caused in episode 4, I believe? Thanks, guys. Have a great night.
First of all,
I don't know what a stretch goal is.
Yep. Okay. Thank you, Mike. Thank you. What is a stretch goal?
It's like an F-hole.
I was thinking like that's the goal you set for stretching out your. Nope. Never mind.
I think it's a goal with no set.
High effort and high risk goal. I just Googled it. It's a high effort and high risk goal, not ghoul.
Oh,
ghoul.
High risk goal.
Sorry.
I don't know if I have stretch goals. I barely have goals.
I have stretch sweatpants. I got a quick answer for this one.
Pete, yeah, go.
Yeah, honestly, it's my shop. It's building a shop on my property. I literally don't even know where to start and where to begin. And I get that's the same thing. Like, I don't know where to start. And even something as simple as Mike earlier saying, just get a contractor, get someone that knows what they're doing. That's great advice. Like, I don't know where to start. And I keep thinking that I have to do all of it myself. And I honestly don't want to. And it terrifies me. And I keep hearing numbers anything from 25,000 to 150,000, and I have no idea what to even aim for.
Somewhere in between.
Somewhere in between. Yeah, I was gonna start asking around, but like, just, you know, I think I need, like Mike is right. I need to start interviewing some contractors to get that stuff done for me, because I have no real desire to figure out all the crazy details myself. I don't want to have to deal with my electric company, all that other stuff. So that I don't know how to build my shop, but I'm gonna lean into the community and the people I know that have done it before to get it done properly. Dan?
Well, Braden, we're sharing a room together at WorkbenchCon. I'm gonna share my stretch goals with you in Atlanta.
That's weirdly sexual.
Ew.
I don't.
So gross.
We've already shared our goals, so I don't know what else to add.
The insert king of Sarpy County.
Mike.
Mike?
I think my stretch goal would be the building, but it's almost like it has to happen kind of thing. So I don't know if it's a stretch goal. You know what I mean?
But it is
I'd
high
say
risk, though.
I don't
It
really,
has to happen.
yeah, I don't know if it's high risk. I mean, I guess it is because it's a lot of money. Like the business could fold and then I have all this debt. So yeah, it's high risk. So we'll say yes, it is. 'Cause it's probably gonna be like $300,000 to $400,000 to build that thing.
I'm
So
out.
it's just one of those things. It's got to happen for the business. I mean, I don't want to talk about that on the show, but I mean, it's fine. It's whatever. I mean, I don't want to go into like money and stuff. It kind of starts to make things weird, but $300,000 to $400,000. Let's just say it's not a big deal. It's just not like a huge issue for the business. It's just not. So, it's one of those things that does have a lot of risk though. And it's scary. It's my money. Give me my money. So it's like scary to put those things out there, but I need to make it happen. So, I don't know how I just do it. Like, I've always been kind of person that's like, when I put something to my mind, I just do everything I can to make it happen. And that means losing sleep. That means working as hard as I possibly can. That means putting my nose down. That means whatever. I get so laser focused on things that I can't not accomplish these things. So and when I start to feel like I'm not accomplishing it, I start to double down and go even harder on things. So I have this very, very goal oriented. So it's really hard for me to like, not accomplish those things. The other side of that is I don't sleep a lot sometimes, and I do get really stressed out sometimes. Is that healthy? No, probably not. But whatever, I want to accomplish my goals. So that's just what I'm at. Like, I kind of choose what I want to do. And that's the thing I want to do, is to hit my goals for me. So that's where I'm at. So, I don't really have much of an answer other than to say that, like, just keep chipping away at it and do your research. Like, what do you need to do? Like, you're not going to get, what is the saying? Rome wasn't built in a night or a day or whatever, You're not going to do any of these things.
They needed sunlight
overnight. Like, you need to, you can't see at night. You're not going to do any of these things immediately. It just doesn't work that way. You need to be patient. You need to understand that there's going to be time that goes into these things. And that's just how it goes. Like, that's just how it goes. You need to go like, okay, I spent X amount of time today working on the thing that I'm trying to get done. That's this far out. And then tomorrow it's going to be only this far out. And then the next day it's going to be this far out. And then you're going to be 6 months from then, you're like, I just accomplished it, and then you're done, So you just got to do it. You have to do it. So anyways, that's my stretch goal thing. We have 2 more questions, guys. Should we kill it from here and move into the next one?
Quick. These are all both
okay, really fast. They have to go really fast. This is super long. Mitch Heil.
What's up, guys? Mitch Heil here from Horn Dog Maps. And I know we're talking about 2023 goals and resolutions for our business, and I think I have a pretty good one for me. So my goal in 2023 is I kind of want to obviously expand my business, and one of the channels that I want to get into is Etsy. Now, I already have my own website, and I do very well over there, but I want to kind of get into the Etsy market just so I can expand into the people who are already on a shopping platform, and they are willing to spend their money. Now, the difference between other people, so say take Daniel, for example, where he has his bow ties, he has his inserts, he has CNC files, he has all these other things, lots of various different items, so he can have lots of listings. Where I'm different is I basically have one product. I make 3D lake maps, and I can change it up a little bit as far as the color, the frame options, all of that stuff. But the big thing is I have 800 different lakes in my inventory right now that I can cut. And Etsy doesn't let you select between 800 different options. So how does it work listing multiple things where instead of having lots of listings about lots of different products, I have basically one product? So what would your tips be? Do I just make the same listing over and over again, or just change it up slightly? Or that's where I've been having trouble with this one. So what are your guys' thoughts on that? Thanks.
Dan?
Do it by state and add the variations per state. Most states don't have more than like 50 lakes. Obviously Minnesota, you're going to get into trouble there. Whereas Minnesota, you could do it by county, but you could have each state have its own listing, I think. Pretty simple, straightforward. Pete?
I think this is a perfect example of when you need to look into more in-depth stuff like E-Rank. E-Rank is a website where basically it'll tell you what is ranking highest in searches, and it links with Etsy, so it'll tell you how many other people are listing that thing, how many people are searching for a certain thing. And I agree with Dan, and I think Mike said this earlier in a pre-show. Like going by state is very smart way to do it. But start looking at the more popular lakes. Look at the stuff you know what sells the most. Start listing that and building your inventory, and then start looking at what the more popular. You can literally just type in states and names of lakes, and it'll give you like how it ranks, and if it's even worth putting on there over other ones. So maybe there's a lot of people cutting Lake Michigan, but maybe there's no people cutting Lake Tranquility or whatever. So it's worth looking into, and how many people are searching it. So check out E-Rank. I think there's a subscription or there's a free version. I don't know, but it's worth, in your case, definitely worth checking out. Mike?
I don't really have much input here on this, on the Etsy thing, but just break it up as much as you can. I mean, you can do what? 10, you can do 10 variables, right?
Yeah. You just state and then a bunch of lakes per state.
Can you do 10 and then sub variables, right? It's just 10.
Well, you could do
10,
size,
right?
I guess. So he could do state and then lake and then size, I guess.
It's pretty limiting. That's why it was my main reason for really jumping onto my website, because I could do whatever I want on my website. But now I just kind of don't do either. So I'll just leave it to these guys. Listen to them. The next question is from Nick Pachi.
Hey guys, Nick from the Working Grain. Hope you all had good holidays. It's been a little bit since I've called in, so I thought I'd give you a shout. After being off with the new baby for a little bit of time, I'm headed back to work full-time next week, but I do still have some orders in the shop that I got to finish up. And I was wondering, do you focus on each individual project all the way till the end, just to maintain focus on each specific thing, or do you work on multiple projects all at the same time to try and get them done all at a sooner date? Just trying to optimize my time in the shop and increase my productivity. Try and keep that life-work balance. Thanks, guys.
Pete.
I'm going to tell you, Nick, that working on multiple projects all at once has done okay for me ever since I started focusing on one project, knocking it out from start to finish as far as I can. It has made me more productive. So the more you can focus on one single thing, the faster you can knock it out. I personally enjoy doing multiple things all at once, but the shop gets real busy real fast that way. Dan, do you have any input on that?
I do multiple projects all at once just so I don't feel like a bum. It makes me feel, for some reason, it makes me feel more productive. And yeah, I feel better about life that way. It's not necessarily the best way, but that's the way I do it. Mike, obviously Mike does multiple projects all at once because he's got the space and the people.
He's also got the people.
Well, I mean, I've always done multiple projects, but yeah, I mean, that's just kind of how my business has to go. So you just kind of, I mean, what's his question? Like, do I do multiple
Do you do
projects?
one project at a time or do multiple projects at a time?
No, that's just not possible. Like you just can't. For me, it's just not possibility. If we're doing one project, I'm stressed out that we don't have enough work. So that's just not a thing. Like we have 2 large contracts constantly going, and then we have 5 or 8 other things going on at the same time. So that's kind of, we just constantly are doing multiple projects. That's just how a production shop has to work, unfortunately. There's one employee might be working on their own project. Like Matt is working on a project today, and Sean worked on like 3 projects today and kind of wrapped them up, smaller stuff that we can do in like a 2-hour period or like a full day period. But yeah,
But now when it was just you kind of focused more on like one major project at a time. Still had Etsy sales and the random things here and there, but I feel like you're really focused.
I'd have multiple projects going on at a time. I mean, like when I was doing a table, I'd have a table and then multiple other things going on at a time. I mean, that was in the beginning. Like there was a time when I didn't have enough work for that. Like I wouldn't do, but I mean, as things started to go, as I was going to start to transition towards going full time, like I'd be doing a table and like all of my Etsy orders or my smaller online or the smaller commissions, but I have ADD in the shop. Like here's the facts. I get kind of bored with a project. Sometimes like I'll be on a project. I'm like, I can't do this anymore. Or I'll hit like a operational block where I can't think about how I'm going to do the next step. And it's not because I don't know how to do it. It's because I need to do something else. I can't work. I can't like go if I've just got done assembling something. I don't typically like going right into sanding. If I've gotten done assembling, I kind of like, okay, I'm done with this project for now. I'm going to move to another project because I need to get my mind out of this project. And it's how I reset for projects, and it's how I keep projects actually really productive. It sounds kind of counterintuitive, but if I keep things, if I do another project in the middle of projects, it keeps the projects moving faster, because sometimes when I'm stuck on the same thing, it slows me way down. I don't know if that makes sense. That's just how it is for me.
No,
like if I spend a whole day on one project, I go insane. I go insane. I have to bounce between things. That's just it. For me, it's better. Mentally, it's better. That's where I'm at.
I think that's it.
That's it for questions. And we already read the patrons. I don't know if we'll have a guest next week. Next week is
we'll post
12th,
about it.
So I'll try to land a guest, but I'll start shooting some messages out. But either way, we'll be back next week at our normal date and time, I believe. Right, guys?
Yeah.
Okay.
You can't get
we'll be
rid
back
of me
next time. Thank you so much. You guys, thanks for all your support. Happy New Year. Thanks for supporting the show. Check us all out on Instagram and YouTube and Facebook and TikTok and Pinterest and Etsy, and go to our websites and use our affiliate links for stuff, whichever one you like the most. Use their affiliate. Go use that one. Delete that out, Pete, or Dan. Take out Pete saying Petrie and put in, pay Will Ferrell to say our codes. Anyway, we'll talk to you guys next week. Have a good weekend. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Love you long time.